Of our Friday, April 10th, 2015 Tourist Development Council meeting. Let's call the meeting to order and let's begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. And will you call the roll?
Commissioner Brian Hammond.
Present.
Renee Afforded.
Here.
Kevin Ruane.
Here.
Pamela Cronin. Tony Lappy.
Here.
Colleen DePasquale. Robert Wells.
Here.
Bill Wachulis.
Here.
Jeff Webb.
Here.
Fran Myers and Forrest Banks are excused.
All right. Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to ask that we have Christine Davlin from the Visitor and Convention Bureau please come to the front and present our Guest First Awards or designations. Good morning.
Good morning. Christine Davlin, for the record. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay. Gosh, thank you. I know, you've got me right there. All right, so every time I come and do this presentation, I stand up here and tell you how proud I am of everyone that has dedicated the time and effort and commitment to go to all the Guest First classes. I'm not going to bore you with all of the details except for to say that you have to attend all the classes in order to be eligible to take the exam, which is through our partnership with the American Hotel Lodgings Educational Institute. One of the things, and I apologize because this is not in your packet, that I decided to share was something that I just shared with the LCHA meeting this past month. And I have never actually looked at the figures since the new program was revamped when I came on board. And it started actually late November, early December of 2010. The numbers are reflected of the classes that have been held. At this point, we are almost at 4,000 people attending the sessions over the last 4 years. So I am so, so proud of those numbers. Thank you, Laura. So we have been busy. We've done a lot of exclusive training, and so we're out there spreading the word of kindness, hopefully throughout Lee County. I also thought it was very important to show where these trainings are held, all over Lee County. So you can see by all the little dots on the map that we are
those
everywhere.
Donuts, by the way?
I'm sorry?
Are those donuts? Or?
Does that mean you're hungry for donuts at this moment?
Better than Cheerios.
And we have none.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. But yes, I think it's interesting that we cover all of Lee County, and one of the big benefits to this whole program is people saying, oh my gosh, I've never been here before. This is just great. I mean, an example of being out at Turpin, we had so many people attend those sessions, and they were just like, wow, we've never been out there before. So we're exposing people that live here that have never been to these locations. So I just wanted to share that real quickly. Now on to the part that we've been waiting for. Our recent class, wow, 26 people that have passed. They all passed the exam. Yay! That now brings our total to 158 that are certified guest service professionals. And obviously we will continue this forward until, again, we are the friendliest destination in the entire world. So with that said, I am going to ask those that are here today to come up and receive a certificate and a pin. So this is kind of like your ceremony. And if Tam and Commissioner, yes, if you would come up and hand them their pins and their certificate and shake hands. And some people could not attend today. I am going to read their names just because I think they deserve to have their names read for passing the exam and becoming certified. So with that said, congratulations from my heart to all of the individuals that are here today. And we can start with Kenna Buldak, who is actually a VCB airport volunteer. By the way, quite a few of our tourism ambassadors out at the airport have passed the exam as well. Maria Cabrera with the Westin Cape Coral. Is she here today? No. Kyle Carper with Hampton Inn and Suites. Yay! Barbara DeMero with Coconut Point. Dana DeSoso with J.N. Ding Darling. I don't think she could be here today. William Dukes with Homewood Suites. Lisa Ewing with Lee County Government. Amin Faridi with Tween Waters. Jessica Gamrett with the Western Cape Coral. Scott Getman with Lee County Parks and Rec. Alan Horn with Sundial Beach Resort and Spa. Joshua Lambert with Florida Gulf Coast University. Maura Larkin with Florida Gulf Coast University. My very own brand new assistant, Liz Linares with Lee County VCB. Alicia Lotz with the Gasparilla Inn. Don Lyons with Lee County Parks and Rec. Another one of our VCB staff unfortunately couldn't be here, Candace Mosley. Stacy Noto with Bell Tower. Alice Nye, VCB Airport Ambassador. Andrew Payne with Lee County Parks and Rec. One of my quietest students ever, Robin Rosario. Oh my gosh, I am entertained. Tina Stanley with the City of San Antonio. Bailey Tilton with Simon Property Group. Susan Warren with the Westin Cape Coral. Andrea Wiedemeyer with Homewood Suites. And Adam Wright with the Red Coconut RV Park. Thank you so much. Congratulations to everybody.
Well done.
Christine, thank you very much for those presentations this morning, and to all the folks who took the course and who have taken it in the past as well, thank you so much. You make our area such an amazing, great place to not only visit once, but to come back and visit a second time. More than 70% of the folks who visit this area will come back for a repeat visit. And I think it's all thanks to the hospitality and the way that we treat our visitors when they're down here. So thank you all for what you do. We really appreciate you. Now on to the most controversial part of every meeting, the approval of the minutes. I have a motion by Renee Affordit, second by Mayor Ruane. Is there any discussion? Are there any objections? No objection, motion carries unanimously. On to the part of our agenda where the public is heard. I believe we have one speaker, Mr. Dave Loveland from the Department of Transportation, who wishes to be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, members of the VCB. I'm Dave Loveland, the Director of Lee County DOT, and I understand there's some interest from your group about our plans for our upcoming Estero Boulevard reconstruction project, so I just wanted to give you an update of what's going on. Ultimately, this project is to reconstruct the 6 miles of Estero Boulevard that the county owns and maintains from Crescent Street just south of the Matanzas Pass Bridge all the way to the Big Carlos Pass Bridge. However, because of funding limitations, we're going to have to do the project in segments, in 1 mile segments. But that does allow us to better control the construction schedule in terms of potential seasonal impacts and minimize the disrupted area at any given time. The purpose of the reconstruction is to better accommodate bicyclists and pedestrians and trolleys while maintaining the 2 lanes of traffic. And we'll also be improving the drainage and accommodating upgrades to the city's water lines and the county's sewer lines along there, and relocating other utilities there and accommodating a gas line down the beach. The first segment we're going to be moving forward with is at the north end from Crescent Street down to near Lover's Lane. We're completing the final design of the project now and have the funds budgeted this year to start construction. We knew people were concerned about the construction start potentially affecting season. So all of the information we've been putting out up to this point was indicating that we would start after season to try to get, or after Easter, to try to give people some assurance that it wasn't going to impact season. Some people took that literally as the day after Easter we were going to start construction. Obviously that hasn't happened. And I wanted to let everybody know, we just got our construction manager contract approved Tuesday by the board with Christel. They're going to serve as our manager for this project in terms of hiring all the subconsultants to do the various aspects of the work and do all the coordination that needs to be done, working with the city for their water line and our Lee County utilities and the other utilities. And there's going to be a lot of underground work and digging involved in this. We'll need to sit down with them and work out a detailed schedule, so I can't give a definitive start date for this first segment yet, but what we're estimating is mid to late summer start, maybe July-ish at this point. We are working in the existing right-of-way for this reconstruction, and it's important to note that for this first segment, the right-of-way width is only 50 feet wide. So that leaves us room for the cross-section that we're looking at, two 10-foot travel lanes with curbs, an 11-foot middle turn lane, and 9.5-foot sidewalks on both sides, with occasional trolley pull-offs built in as we go along. There won't be room in that first segment for separate on-road bike lanes, although we do envision that on the other parts of the corridor. So in that first section, the road lanes are going to be marked with what they call sharrows to indicate it's a shared use for both the bicyclists and the cars. We recognize that's not an ideal situation, but it's the reality of what we're dealing with the space limitations. And we discussed the issue with the town council and with the folks of Fort Myers Beach in some public meetings. And the majority of support was for maintaining the middle turn lane as opposed to eliminating that to have room for the bike lanes in this tight section, because they want that middle turn lane the whole length of the island. It's utilized by the emergency management folks to bypass traffic when they need to make a run, and it's utilized by everybody pulling out from the side streets to try to stage their exit to try to merge into traffic because it's hard to find breaks in the traffic. We plan on having a kickoff meeting with the public down on the beach before we start construction. At this point, we're looking at late May or June, probably. And Brianna from Selamolnar, who's our public information consultant, just handed out the cards that we've been making available, these contact cards, which provide information, a little bit of information about the project, but the key things on here, there's a phone number to contact Selamolnar if you have any questions about the project. And there's a website link on here. And what you see on the screen here is the Refresh Fort Myers Beach website that this refers you to. There's two buttons when you initially get on there, one for the road project and one for the city's water line project. You go to the road project and you can pull up information about the latest status of the project and some of the steps that have already happened. We're at a critical point in terms of getting this project off the ground. We've been talking about this project for many, many years. And I think ultimately the end result is going to help make Fort Myers Beach as a destination even more desirable with a nicer looking road. It'll look a lot like what the town built at the north end of Estero Boulevard. But I don't want to kid anybody either. It's going to be a difficult process as we go through this. And we are committed to trying to keep 2 lanes of traffic open as we go through this process, and to work with all the businesses as we're moving along here to maintain access and to try to minimize the disruption as much as possible. So all we ask as we go through is that everybody try to be as patient as possible. Thank you.
Any questions, board members? Mr. Wells.
Yeah, thank you for speaking to us today.
Sure.
I guess historically, it was about 2 years ago, I think, that they bought a property. They bought several pieces of property in the area that you're working in the county, along with, I think, misuse of some of the tourist tax dollars in a couple of the cases. Is it too early or can we go onto this website to see what the actual proposal is for how this might alleviate some of this congestion in that area? I know that's been the hot topic.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because I want to make sure everybody's clear. Our project deals with reconstruction of the road as it exists from Crescent Street going south. Crescent Street north to the bridge, the foot of the bridge area is where you're referring. The county bought the Seafarers Village project property, and we built the park across the street. There's other properties in flux in that area, the Helmer Plaza, and lots of discussion about potential improvements there. The state DOT, at this point, they're getting ready to do a study for San Carlos Boulevard to look at what improvements need to be done on San Carlos. Possibly a dedicated trolley lane is an option that they're going to look at. And they've agreed to extend their study over the bridge to the foot of the bridge and look at that intersection as well. There's a lot of different options kind of being floated at this point, and there's some evaluation that has to happen to determine what's going to be workable, what's feasible in terms of drainage impacts, right-of-way impacts, and things like that. So there's still a lot of discussion happening. You know, they're talking about roundabouts. They're talking about relocating part of Estero Boulevard there at the north end. So nothing has been decided there, and that's not really referenced on our website at this point because that's going to be handled by the state DOT.
Mr. Aforte.
Question, curiosity as much as anything. You mentioned the segment 1 is going to begin July-ish. When will that segment end, and how many more segments did you say we had?
There are 6 segments
6
total.
segments. So this is going to go on for a while.
This will be going on for a while.
And I'm wondering, do you plan on, paring back in season or stopping in season, picking up again after season? I'm just wondering. I'm thinking of the traffic and the
We'll need
congestion.
to work that schedule out with our construction manager as to the feasibility of doing that, when we start during the year, how long the work takes carrying over to the next year. I think each of these phases is going to take at least a year, so there's liable to be impacts that carry across season, but we've had discussions with our construction manager about getting all the underground work and the difficult work out of the way before season hits so that what you have remaining is much less disruptive as you get into season. But by doing it in 1 mile segments, it gives us some opportunity to try to keep that to a minimum and create that gap during season so that we can minimize how much work we do there.
Thank you. Mr. Ruane, or Mayor Ruane.
I know you talked about 6 segments. Looks like it's about a year a segment. Have you actually allocated or dedicated funding for the next 5 projects, and what's your time frame?
We
Start
have
at the beginning.
we have funding dedicated every other year for each segment. So through the 5-year window of our capital improvement program, we have the first 4 pieces within that 5-year window, with a commitment to continue that funding cycle so the other 2 segments would follow as we add new years to our capital improvement program. Ultimately, beginning to end, it's about a 10-year project. Now, there will be some discussions as we get into this about possibilities of financing and trying to advance that project and maybe do larger pieces at one time. But that also means larger sections of the roadway torn up at one time. So.
Well, I recognize that obviously you're trying to do this in a capital improvement, but starting and stopping in 1 mile segments, obviously you're doing with your budget constraints, but from just a timeline point of view, continuing without having year gaps between them seems to be a more efficient way of doing it. I don't know what the differences are.
Well,
Purely financial driven?
it's financial, and the fact that even if I had all the money today, I couldn't build all of it right today. I don't have all of it designed. We have the first segment final design. I've got 30% level plans for the rest of it, so I still have to achieve final design for each piece as we're going along. And so the plan is, design the next segment while we're working on the prior one, and then move into building that. So
I gather you learn as you go along.
yes, our hope is that the lessons from the first one make everything else easier from there. Plus, the first one is the most constrained section.
Absolutely.
So.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Wachulis?
Just my question is more towards design. In the north end, we did the trolley turnoffs. I know you mentioned you didn't have enough space for the bike paths on this section. Is there trolley turnoffs? the royal palms going down, then the drainage being done?
There are drainage improvements being done, we're revising the drainage. There will be trolley pull-offs where those occur in this 50-mile section. The lanes come together and we lose that middle turn lane just in those short stretches where we have the trolley pull-offs. What was the other part of your question?
The palms.
Oh, the
we
palms.
did the royal palms along.
Well,
was
we're planning on landscaping in the areas where we have wider width. This 50-foot section doesn't really leave us much room to do that. There's a possibility of maybe putting some tree wells in there, but we have these 9.5-foot wide sidewalks as the only real separate accommodation for pedestrians through that north end. So everything we put in the right-of-way in terms of the power poles and tree wells takes away from that width. So we'll have to be selective on where we do those, and we've been asking the town, because that needs to be a partnership issue with the town as to whether they're interested in helping do that. So.
And just going with the power, phase 2 on the north end, they did the cross sections of the power going underneath the road. Is there any plan with any burial of any utility?
At this point, no. Again, that's an issue we've talked about with the town, because that's an added expense in terms of taking just the parts that cross over and putting them underground. So that's just been a discussion with the town as to whether they're interested in helping participate in something like that. So we haven't decided anything definitively there.
Right. Any further questions, board members? Okay, Tam?
So you got the card, and the card has the web address on it. And the web address, a few minutes ago, it was up on the screen. I don't know if you noticed. But I think the important part about this, it'll be just like when we do a beach renourishment project. You will be able to track the project on this website. So you will know exactly when it's going to be in front of your, well, maybe not exactly, but an estimated time when it's going to be in front of your business, or when one segment is complete, the status on that segment before it's complete, and then when they're going on to the next one. So you're going to really keep the public very well informed, the businesses very well informed, and we'll certainly distribute information as appropriate so everyone knows what's going on.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Loveland, for the update. Is there any other public that wishes to be heard? Great. Please approach and state your name for the record.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Beth Oliver. I'm the Director of Marketing with Offshore Sailing School. And I just wanted to let you know that the week after next, we'll be hosting our 15th annual Performance Race Week at South Seas Island Resort on Captiva. This is where our graduates from across the U.S. and Canada, they happen to be coming from there, will gather, and they'll learn to race better and faster. And the important stat is that it represents 200 room nights. And I just wanted to say on behalf of Steve and Doris Colgate that we thank the VCB very much for all the collateral material that you give us complimentary. And for those companies in the room, when you're hosting a special event, it's a very easy online form. You click the boxes, you come and pick up your collateral materials, and it makes a great gift package. And hopefully all of those people that are participating the week after next will come back and visit Southwest Florida in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other members of the public? Come on up. Let's have, okay, great.
Hi, my name is Alfred B. I'm Assistant Park Manager for Crescent State Historic Site, Estero Bay Preserve State Park, and also Mount Key Archaeological State Park. I want to thank you for your consideration of a pavilion build project that we want to have at Crescent State Historic Site. Crescent, of course, is in Estero, Florida's newest city. I hope you all have been there. It's on the river. There's considerable traffic up and down the river. More and more, we are getting more traffic there, and we really want to have the build project to encourage that. One of the issues I want to address was whether there would be a charge for use of the pavilion, and on a daily basis there won't be. On a daily basis, regularly for folks who come into the park, it will be free. However, we will have a reserve charge, and we actually think this will be an enhancement, so that planners will be able to reserve the site and be able to have activities and events there. The park's contribution will largely be on repairs, maintenance, and upkeep. And again, I want to thank you for your consideration. The park, on a yearly basis, accounts for about $6 million worth of economic impact. Also is basically responsible for approximately 100 jobs. Any questions?
Thank you for coming to speak this morning. And Tam, would you like to tag anything on?
Sure. This is one of the projects you'll be reviewing in the upcoming beach and shoreline cycle. And Nancy has some updates to share with you later, but I believe your review date is April 31st. Is that correct, Nancy?
30th.
April 30th. Okay, my apology. April 30th.
Very good. Thank you very much for coming to speak this morning.
Very good. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Sputoni, and I'm representing Captiva Cruises. Paul McCarthy would have been here this morning, but he was unable to attend, but he asked me to report that Captiva Holiday Village was a very successful month-long activity, well-received, with hundreds of hotel bookings during the event. All the events were highly attended and successful, and I have to say that Twin Waters fireworks show, if you have not been the day after Thanksgiving, it was something that, as all residents should just see, it was, I have to say, it was one of the best fireworks shows that I've seen, and how you perfectly place those fireworks between the palm trees is just amazing. But, so thank you for funding that project, and you'll hear more about that in the coming months. And also, Captiva Cruises has officially been named the concessionaire for Cayo Costa State Park System. And in that, last month, I think that you all got to see some of the lecture series that we were doing. We have 2 more left. Some VCB staff members will be attending. Next Thursday will be Karen Maxwell, who will be leading a tour of the plant life. And then the following week, our celebrity, Pam Rambo, will be doing a shell walk. And so I just want to let you know that this is just the beginning of the things that we're going to be doing out on Cayo Costa and the islands there, and you could look forward to much more. And thank you very much for your support.
Very good. Thank you for coming in. Are there any other members of the public that wish to be heard this morning? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment. Are there any municipalities that wish to be heard this morning? Our city manager from Sanibel. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner, members. Last month I stood up and provided you examples of how we, for the last several years on Sanibel, have been using TripAdvisor data to improve our physical facilities, particularly those funded by TDC, and how successful that's been. And I also shared with you the story of the family from Chicago that was so surprised when they came home and the Sanibel Police Department had mailed them back their cell phone that they had lost, and how thankful they were. But just to prove for the end of season, for such a successful season, that Sanibel is not everyone's cup of tea, I did want to read you one review that came in on Ding Darling recently. The review was, "It's okay, a beautiful and pristine location. Unfortunately, we only saw birds." So with that, just want to congratulate everyone who assisted us with just a remarkable season. Thank you.
I guess there are worse things they could say yet. Sam?
So for those of you who were at the volunteer luncheon yesterday, one of my stories, or excuse me, on Wednesday, one of my stories was that a lady stopped by the desk and said, "Can you tell me where the beaches are on Sanibel? I went out there and I couldn't find them." So that was a pretty funny story for sure. So I don't know how you go to Sanibel and not find the beach. That is beyond me, but I'll leave it at that. Somebody couldn't find them.
Are there any other municipalities to be heard this morning? Okay, seeing none, we'll close that part of the meeting and move on to the report of our Executive Director, Tam.
All right, well, thank you very much for the opportunity to share this report with you. So instead of doing staff updates last, I'm going to do it first because I tend to forget to do this. So I am really excited this morning to introduce, finally, it seems like Pamela and I are both breathing a big sigh of relief. We finally have a sales director in place. Anna Stone has joined us. She has a... I'm going to make you stand while I read everything. She has a decade in the hospitality industry. She was the regional and some regional director expertise. She comes to us from the Embassy Suites Charleston Convention Center in Charleston, South Carolina, where she spearheaded a successful sales effort by partnering with the local Convention and Visitors Bureau. She also worked as a regional sales director for Pillar Hotels and Resorts, based out of Irving, Texas, where she produced unprecedented sales growth in assigned markets. She will be responsible for guiding the group sales team in prospecting new business, identifying emerging trends and opportunities, and coordination of the VCB's participation in trade shows. She will also lead our tour and travel efforts with domestic tour operators, travel agents, and other leisure travel professionals. She holds a degree from the State University of New York as a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and she also holds sales certifications from both Marriott and Hilton. We're really excited to have Anna here. She will be getting out to meet you and your GMs, the businesses in the community. I think she was down in Bonita Springs last night. She's been to the Hyatt. She was down at Fort Myers Beach yesterday. She's been getting all around. It'll take a little time. There are a lot of you, but we will make sure that she gets out to meet you, and I couldn't be more pleased to welcome her to our team. So with that, now I won't have forgotten to introduce our new staff. We're going to start having to put that on the agenda because I always forget. Now let's talk about the bed tax. I know this is going to, just be an incredibly disappointing month to you after the number I shared last month. We're only up 17.3% in February, still an excellent month. And I think it's important to put that in context. A 17.3% increase in tourist tax means about $14 million was spent extra in our accommodations partners. And when you figure that out by day, that's about a little more than $500,000 a day more spent in accommodations properties this year than last year. So that is really fantastic news for our community, good news for the people who work in the hotel industry. Move on to the Smith Travel Report. When you look at the actual report, you will see that numbers are really good. Occupancy was at 91.1%. Actually, when you look at the competitive set, we were second on that, trailing Broward County at 93, but very, very close second, obviously. So occupancy, because this is a very strong month for us, was only up 2.6%. And as you know, moving it much beyond that 90% mark is going to be a great challenge. But ADR was up 15.3% for a RevPAR increase of 18.3%. Room revenue up 19.5%, a slight increase in available rooms, and about a 3.6% increase in rooms sold. And when you see the year, of course, that bang up January, I believe we were up about 12% in occupancy in January. Year to date, only the 2 months, of course, 7.4% increase in occupancy and a 13.4% increase in ADR for a 21.9% increase in RevPAR, which matches up pretty nicely to the bed tax numbers, as you would expect. So in terms of the airport traffic was up 5%, 906,039 passengers through embarking and debarking from RSW. Great news to see those passenger numbers up. They're going to clearly have a bang-up year as well. Record year on top of a record year. Now I would like to welcome Pamela Johnson and at some point Stephanie Zinke. Pamela will be giving, I think, her final sales report. I think she's pretty happy about that too.
Good morning, everyone. Yes. Welcome, Anna. Very happy.
Although we're going to need a longer extension on the microphone for Anna. Oh. She's going to have to hold it, I think.
Anna, yes. Good morning, everyone. Yes, this morning I'm happy to present to you the first 6-month sales activity for the Visitor and Convention Bureau. And I will do this with my colleague, Stephanie Zinke, who I will welcome in a moment. So I thought for my last report, I would just kind of go back and, for those who may be in the audience, share exactly what the sales team does, what our role is, and how we try to assist our lodging partners. Really, if you think of the sales team, we are like the broker between the buyer, meeting planners, travel agents, tour operators, receptives, and the suppliers, our lodging partners. And we try to be the cheerleader for our destination to get us noticed, to establish relationships, perhaps, between the buyers and suppliers, and that's what we do. Hopefully, to the benefit of our destination. I think we've had some success in that. So I'm going to take, there's two areas of the sales team. There's the group sales effort, that's meetings and conferences, as well as group leisure, social groups. And then there are the what am I trying to say, leisure group, and that's domestic and internationally. And what we've decided is going forward, Anna's going to handle most of the conferences and groups, and I will still lead the efforts when it comes to the international. So you'll still see me from time to time. So looking at our performance measures for the first 6 months, in terms of the group sales efforts, we really have done, thanks to the destination doing well. I think looking at the numbers in terms of where we are in group sales, we are up 27% compared to the same time last year in terms of the number of leads and definite bookings. Really excited to say that it's been a great so far 6 months for the sales team as well in assisting bookings to our lodging partners. We always look at lost business and what the opportunities are for lost business, and when we look at the business that we lost for the first 6 months, again, it tends to be a board group preference, but I see that again as an opportunity to perhaps do a really good job on the front end with the buyer, make them so excited that they're going to go back and carry the testimony for our destination to kind of get at that number a little bit. We have 2 individuals who work remotely for the Visitor and Convention Bureau on the group sales side. One in Washington, D.C., and the other in the Midwest. For the first 6 months of the year, we had over 75 different opportunities in terms of trade shows, sales calls, one-on-one appointments with meeting planners, and usually we typically do in a year about 150 events. And again, they range from sales calls to sales missions with our partners. Our partners, many of them come on the road with us. In Washington, D.C. a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, it was Destination Showcase. This is an event, a meeting planner event that is created by DMAI, Destination Marketing Association International. And they invite meeting planners from all over. And we used it as an opportunity to make sales calls, attend DMAI, and also host a client event. What you see on the screen is we hosted a cooking event at one of the restaurants in the Washington, D.C. area, an opportunity to create relationships between the buyers and a couple of our suppliers. I believe the Westin Cape Coral came with us on this, as well as I believe it was Pink Shell. Or no, excuse me. I think that was Sundial.
Sundial.
Yes. We also have a variety of domestic travel trade outreach efforts. Those are directly to the consumers in our key market. And we've done, we're in all the key markets and some emerging markets in Texas where we're reaching directly to the consumer. And then we've had some success with a couple of things that we've done this past year in terms of webinars where we don't have to travel anywhere. And we reach the buyer directly via digital efforts. And we did this in conjunction with Travel Weekly. We've also done it with a couple of meetings publications. But in March, we did a webinar that reached, we had 650 agents on the call. And Jovina Huber and Candace Coco talked about the destination from a leisure standpoint as well as a group sales standpoint. And I just wanted to read you an email that Jovina received afterwards from a travel agent who participated. Hi, Jovina. I attended your webinar on March 5th, and yesterday I made my very first booking to the area for honeymoon clients to the Seaside Inn, May 18th through the 22nd. Thanks for an informative presentation. I wish webinars had been invented back when I was a sales rep. So again, this webinar lives for a year on the Travel Weekly website, and it's an opportunity for travel agents to, again, learn about our destination. And then, of course, we have our upcoming future sales activities that I just wanted to share. And then finally, I just really wanted to take the opportunity to say that this is the team that really is working on your behalf. I mean, I've had the privilege of standing up here for many, many years and saying what we're doing. But these are the people who are really making it happen. And as I mentioned, it's an opportunity for them. It's an opportunity for me to represent them when I come to the TDC. But they're working very hard on your behalf. And you get to see my face, but hopefully you'll see some other new faces. And also too, I wanted to just remind everybody, we are represented internationally by three firms in Germany, UK, and Canada. And when you hear oftentimes that, we're doing things in the various different markets, that we're actually not sending anybody from our office to those areas. Those are events that are represented by our representatives in the destination, which is why we've hired them. They have the contacts, they have the relationships, and so I just wanted to remind you of that. Global communications experts in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, for communications for the UK, Ireland, and Scandinavia, Vox in Canada, and MNO, who represents us from a PR standpoint in France. And so now, one of the, I'll say it, younger, fresher faces who's going to come to share with you what's been going on internationally is Stephanie Zinko. Stephanie has been with us for about a year and 3 months now and represents us internationally. She is German and speaks 3 languages. She speaks German, of course English, and she's fluent in Spanish. So she's helped us a lot too on our South American efforts, just getting us noticed there. So Stephanie's going to give you the international, what we've been doing on an international basis for the past 6 months.
Good morning, Council. For the record, like Pamela Johnson already said, my name is Stephanie Zinka. I'm the International Sales Manager for the VCB, and I was asked to give you a brief overview of what has been happening on the international scale for the past 6 months. So starting with Canada, which is our closest international market, we know that Canada has been really strong. They reported an increase of 25% in visitation numbers, which is great. So for our efforts in this market, we've been staying busy as well. You can see here we attended the key trade and consumer markets shows throughout the market. Over the past 4 months, 2 of the main Canadian tour operators added new product to their portfolio for our destination, which is good. So we're going to be represented even broader with hotels in this market. For Germany, just across the other side of the Atlantic, we have been partnering very strongly with Visit USA and Visit Florida just to piggyback off their efforts and just become bigger and have a bigger presence. One of the key events that we did in order to approach travel journalists in a different way was to host a cooking event, which seems to be quite popular these days. We had 15 journalists, and it was all about Florida, and it was just a great way to introduce our destination and some fun facts about what we have to offer. We did attend ITB in March, which is probably one of the highlights for the German-speaking market. ITB recently presented new records of 175,000 visitors over a 5-day period. So it was a great way for us to, exposure, and we conducted 36 meetings with tour operators and media. We hosted live radio interviews directly from the show, showcasing our destination, why people should travel. Also, for the very first time, ITB allowed to sell travel during the 2 consumer days at the end of the show, which through Visit Florida, we had German operators on site actively selling travel to Florida and answering any questions and helping planning for potential visitors. We also, the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, for the first time sponsored the signature event from Visit Florida, which happens every year during ITB, which was another great opportunity to network with over 220 key trade partners and journalists. For the UK and Scandinavia, in December, we invited our new UK and Scandinavia contractors, and we gave them a destination training, which gave them the knowledge that they need to go out into their markets and successfully sell our destinations. And here you can see just a couple of shows they've attended. They've been busy with trainings, trade shows, and a UK media luncheon, which was very successful. For France, the focus has been to be on destination training and product training. So we covered 6 cities. We did training to 80 agents and product managers to 11 of the top tour operators throughout France. And apart from our main international markets, we also tapped into new markets, like, for example, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Argentina. And going there for the very first time, we attended key trade and consumer shows. And I would like to thank those of you, the hotel partners in the industry, that helped us and supported the VCB efforts by sponsoring either stays or other promotional items and collateral just to have a bigger presence. We have seen increased interest from the trade and media in those markets, specifically Argentina and Brazil. We've received great media coverage over the last 4 months, especially in those markets who are actively looking for what they call beyond gateway destinations within Florida, which means anything outside Miami and Orlando. So we have been getting interest from them, and which gave us good media coverage. On the other side, the international team, when we actually stay domestically, we traveled to Orlando and Miami to host our annual appreciation luncheons. We went to the 2 cities, and in order to say thank you to 41 key partners that help us sell our destination internationally. We had the great support from 8 of our industry partners who came along to those 2 days events, and we provided product and destination updates for the receptive tour operators. Also in January, a great opportunity for us was Florida Huddle, which gave us the opportunity to have one-on-one meetings, 45 in total, with international tour operators, online travel agents, and media from all different international markets, and just to gain an insight on how are we performing and what's the outlook for 2015 and 16 for our region. Since we do believe that the best way to sell our destination is by bringing people here, we did that, and over the last 4 to 5 months, we hosted 4 big group FAM tours from Scandinavia, the UK, a UK focused receptive tour operator, and Canada. And just to give you a brief outlook of what's to come for the second half of this fiscal year, we have a full agenda, attending trade shows as well as hosting more FAMs. We included some new trade shows that we'll be attending for the first time, like WTM Latin America, and of course site visits. And for the very first time, we're going to be organizing a UK and Scandinavia sales mission, which will actually include some of our hotel partners traveling with us abroad to promote the destination. Thank you very much for your time, and if you have any questions, either now or in the future, I'll be happy to answer them.
Mr. Wells.
I have one. It's kind of probably for the staff as a whole. Average daily rate is going up, and we talked a lot about this over the last couple of years that it definitely needed to. It seemed that was a lagger, and people were kind of nervous. Individual property managers were nervous about raising their rates for obvious reasons. And now that that's started to happen, it seems like in some of these months that's the only way that we're going to increase our ability to increase revenue. So as that happens, the first quarter of this year, the average daily rate went up 13.4%. 6% of group sales is reported past due to pricing. And so I wondered if what the thought is as that average daily rate goes up, how much that's impacting the potential customer that's looking to come to the area, and how we're kind of monitoring that as a group.
Thank you. It's a great question, and it definitely is something that we're monitoring, because for the first time these past 3 months, we've seen lodging partners saying, we don't want that business. We want more of X business. So you're absolutely right. I know I've spoken with also with Jeff Milkey. He's seeing some resistance on the sports inn, mostly for the event that's in March. But certainly now it's a great time. So lodging partners have the opportunity to say, yes, I want this. Yes, no, I don't want that. I want this time of year. So it certainly does hamper sometimes some of our efforts because some of the groups are certainly more rate sensitive. We definitely try to push those groups towards the summer season, and now more like August, September time frame. But you're absolutely right. It's something that we're definitely starting to see because we've had such a wonderful year. The lodging partners are really being selective in the type of business that they will accept and when they will accept it. Does that
Just got a follow-up for that?
I have one also too, looking at that, where I see 16% canceled. In other words, a group is booked, if I understand that, and the question is, how many days out are they canceling, and do you have any information as to why they cancel?
That actually, I should probably, we should probably name that a little bit differently in Simple View, because it's not that they have canceled the meeting. Sometimes we get a lot of leads through a third party called online company called Cvent. And oftentimes meeting planners will send out a lead, and before anything even gets going, they will retract it or cancel it. So it's not that a meeting, right, it's not a booked event that's being canceled.
Thanks.
Sorry about that.
Or they change their dates, or, there could be a number of reasons why they're canceling that RFP, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so, okay, I got it. Thank you.
The 4% responsiveness from the hoteliers?
I'm glad you asked that question. We continue to sometimes be challenged with responsiveness from our partners. And again, I'll preface this by saying a lot of times, and I've noticed this in Cvent, where leads will come through and they want a response, the next day. And I know it's been very busy for many of you, but responsiveness is a small issue that we certainly work one-to-one with each hotel to try to address. That it's very important to respond by the deadline that we're given. Otherwise, we could potentially lose the business or lose the opportunity for our destination.
Very good. Any further follow-up questions? All right. Very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Now I'd like to welcome up Judy Durant to give the visitor services report. Hello
And
there.
before Judy gets going, I just want to say, for those of you who weren't there, you missed a really fun day Wednesday. Hats off, literally hats off, since we mostly wore hats, pun intended, to Judy and her team, Simone, Sean, and Jason. You continually amaze me with your creativity, your passion, and your love for those volunteers. And, you know, a lot of times I'm the one that gets thanked, and really it is you guys who make this happen. And, you know, you make us shining stars in the eyes of those folks who are shining stars in my eyes. So I just want to say thank you publicly in front of everyone for what a great job, and please pass that along to your team.
Thank you. I will, on behalf of the Visitor Services team and our volunteers, I will definitely pass that on. And thank you for your kind words. It is my pleasure to give you a report this morning for Visitor Services for our first quarter. It's been a fun season so far, and as you'll see by our statistics, we've worked with about 100,000 different passengers, had a lot of questions, and those of you who were at the luncheon realized they were all over the place. So it's been a very strange, unusual, exciting, and bizarre season. And we're kind of, I hate to say we're glad it's over because we're not, but it's just, things are now kind of more even-keeled, so it helps us do some different things. So for those who've been out there at the information booths and seen our volunteers in action, thank you for stopping by and saying thank you to them and kind of helping them through some things. I know a couple of you have done that, and I appreciate that. As you can tell, we've saved the county over $150,000 in wages, which we always think is a good thing. As you see, also, our special projects and community support outreach has been a lot of fun. We continue to work with our sales team and be able to provide some welcome greeting support to them, which is always a lot of fun because we actually get to interact with some attendees coming in for the different meetings. We get to put some signage up, and we get to just do what we do best, which is be friendly and happy and be supportive and share information. One of the fun things that we also did this year, and we've done for the past several years, is provide volunteer support for Art Fest Fort Myers. Great event, great fun, lots of outreach to the community. And as you can also see, the Bonita Springs National Art Festival, it was the first time we had the chance to put volunteers in place there. That was a lot of fun, and we hope to continue that partnership too. And then, of course, we couldn't do anything without helping with our baseball spring training. My goodness, hopefully you all saw the information booths at both stadiums. The volunteers embraced that 1,000%. Every game is staffed by volunteers night and day, so that has been a lot of fun for us to do every single year. And as far as our ongoing industry product training, that's extremely important. Like Pamela says, with sales, if we don't continue our outreach with our partners and continue training our tourism ambassadors, of which we have 126, then of course we can't fully represent the area. So this is just simply a listing of the different types of things we've done this year. The picture on the right is up at the Red Coconut, and I just want to say that right after that was taken, they all took their shoes off and ran down towards the water, and I'm telling you, they had so much fun, and I just can't tell you how much fun it is to learn about the area and have a good time too. I think we're really blessed, and as Judy well said, they just came in at the preserve and saw the birds. Well, you know, sometimes people miss what's right under their nose, and that's a good thing about product education. As far as our partner participation, you know, like all of us, we're out there doing a lot of different things. I just wanted to kind of highlight there that that's Sean and Simone on the right. We participated as part of a team with the Run for the Arts 5K with Art Fest, and I just have to say that Simone, who's on our team, placed third in her division, so she did really well. So she would be blushing if she were here, but I want you to know that because she's quite the runner, and she's just an amazing, amazing lady, and I'm so grateful she's on our team. And then, of course, here's our look ahead. And what probably the most important thing you need to be aware of that we're doing, of course, and actually it's not we, it's Christine Davlin's team doing the Celebration of Business and Tourism Chrysalis Awards and luncheon next week. That will be next Thursday. If you have not already signed up to come, please make sure you do. That's a really wonderful event that she does, or the VCB does in partnership with the Greater Fort Myers Chamber of Commerce, and it's fantastic. And you'll see a listing of other things that we do as part of our visitor services outreach, that we also do as part of our tourism ambassador support, and also the travel rallies coming up on May 6th.
Going Great Guns. I've got Candace Coco with the Southwest Florida Attractions Association handling all the travel fair aspect. We've got Simone and her team, Nicole and Alexa with a couple of the hotels putting together the races. Going to have kind of a cool announcement shortly about some of the food we're going to do, and just a lot of neat things happening. So I guess I really just want to say, if you're ever out at RSW, please swing by and say hello to our volunteers. And if that's all, thank you very much for your time.
Very good. Mr. Forditt. Judy, I just had one comment. I like the change you made in the venue. First of all, it saved an awful lot of folks, going up the stage across, going back down again.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting is the background you gave on everybody who was recognized.
Pretty cool,
I
huh?
found a lot of those people have extremely interesting backgrounds. So anyway, I like that new venue you're using.
Thank you, and they have backgrounds that if I think about it too hard, my team and I, we just get frightened because they have led organizations and companies, and we are just worker bees. So I have to not think about that sometimes there. And they give time to us. In fact, one gentleman who's brand new with us, he is actually a Pulitzer Prize winner for the Chicago Tribune and retired and came down here and was recruited by one of our other volunteers. He's a Hope Hospice volunteer. And we only found out, because he didn't tell us this, through the grapevine, and then we confirmed that he won a Pulitzer Prize. I mean, for goodness sakes, he's volunteering with us. So it's really cool. So thank you.
You know, that is exceptional talent, and that's also why they're so good with the public, right? These are people who understand business, understand the importance of business, understand how to conduct themselves. They're polished, they're sharp. We are really blessed, and like you, Renee, I'll admit I very much enjoyed, hearing their backgrounds. Even though I know most of them, I know them as volunteers, not in their former life what they were doing. So very exciting.
And just to close it, the commissioners, absolutely every one of us would have loved to have been there at the celebration, because we truly value all of our volunteers. We were at a zoning hearing that went from 9:30 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon, and was unavoidable for us to be able to make it to that. But certainly we want to share our thanks to all of the volunteers and everybody who helps coordinate our volunteers as well.
And with that, I'm going to ask Nancy to come up and give the beach and shoreline update.
Okay, thank you for having me. So at the end of the next portion in your packet includes the annual update of current projects that you've funded in the past. So I thought it would be timely to give you just a snapshot of some of the projects that have been completed the past year. So while you're reviewing future funding requests, you have an idea of what we've accomplished. And just real quickly to recap the resources that are out there that are being managed, there's 10 agencies, city, county, and even state agencies that are managing these public access points with 47 miles of beaches and 500 miles of shoreline. I've counted 105 public beach and bay accesses that are being managed by these 10 agencies with TDC funds. So that doesn't include all of the other, it doesn't include boat ramps, it doesn't include some of the other properties, and of course accesses from our lodging partners. Of the 105 access points, 18 of them are what I would call true facilities, in that they offer amenities such as parking, picnic areas, and restrooms. Currently, there's 33 active projects. You've funded $7.8 million current fiscal year, and the total funding available, including the current allocation, is $9.7 million. So that's the money that is out there waiting to be reimbursed to all of the municipalities that are working on their projects. Taking a look at a 15-year snapshot back to fiscal year 2000, you've spent $94.5 million, and this is where you've spent it. 44% of that funding went to maintenance projects. A lot of them are ongoing with our municipalities. 26% is beach nourishment, 22% capital, and then of course there's 7% which is the cost of managing the program. And we used to fund some other projects in years past. About 1% of the total 94.5 went to those projects.
Water quality,
yeah, you've not funded many other type projects in several years. Tam also wanted you to see the total funds allocated by fiscal year, going back again to fiscal year 2000 when you funded about $3 million in TDC beach and shoreline projects, through current year, again, 7.8. So it's important to note that as the revenue increases, so does the allocation to the beach and shoreline program. There's two that you may have a question on. I should go this way.
Yeah.
So this
This
one right here, I believe, is when we mid-year allocated some funds to the Sanibel Fishing Pier. Then it was pushed over to the Fort Myers Beach Pier for repairs. And then, of course, in 2011, fiscal year 2011, you funded Crescent Beach. So those are two spikes in the chart I wanted just to clarify.
Oh, good. Okay, great.
Okay, moving forward. So I thought that I'd just real quickly give you a couple updates by category. So beach nourishment funding to date since fiscal year 2000 is $24.2 million, and this portion of the program, we need to give all the credit to our Natural Resources Division. Steve Boutelle and Justin McBride do a great job managing these projects. There are 6 areas in Lee County that are considered critically eroded. And in 2013, we completed 3 projects. Gasparilla Island, Blind Pass, and Captiva Island actually was completed by CEPD. And it's important to remember that all of the nourishment projects, there's cost sharing involved. The TDC isn't funding the whole thing. Estero Island, of course, was completed in 2011. And all of these projects are in what we would consider monitoring. And the typical life of a project is anywhere from 8 to 10 years, unless there's a significant weather event. So all of them are good to go for a little while longer. Last year, in September, we completed the Bonita Beach, northern portion of Bonita Beach nourishment project with a total cost of $1.6 million, and we cost shared that project with the city of Bonita. You can see this picture, sorry, this picture right here is back in 2004, which is the last time that Bonita Beach was nourished. And then this is current right here. So you can see the difference. There's a little bit more of a beach there next to the walkway. And this is the area right here, northern part of Bonita Beach. Lover's Key is right up here.
Nancy, was that the first time it was renourished?
No. No, it was nourished back in 2004. Again, it was a 10-year span. And there is, Steve indicates there is a request into the state of Florida for 33% reimbursement on this project, so we're hopeful that based on their allocations that we'll come through with that. Lover's Key State Park was completed in December, and it's important to remember that Lover's Key in last fiscal year was the 2nd most visited state park of all the state parks in the state of Florida. So it's a significant, it received significant visitation. Their visitation in January through March was up 25%. As everybody, I suppose, numbers have been up. So the funding, the bulk of it was the state of Florida, 11.7% TDC, and this is a shot of the beach before, anywhere from 20 feet or less in width. And the mid-island gazebo, located right about here, was almost in the water, and this is a shot of it after. So that's a look at Lover's Key. We also lost all of the dune vegetation prior to the nourishment project, so this is a shot of 20,000 sea oats that have been planted and are doing quite well. They're all still alive. So pre-project, the beach, again, less than 30 feet in some spots. It's now anywhere from 90 to 240 feet wide. Gasparilla State Park, you approved an emergency request last fiscal year to fix the Belcher Road seawall, and this is a shot of that project. It was completed last year. The TDC funded 48% of the project, and there were 2 other partners on that project. You can see the Gasparilla Lighthouse in the background there. Okay, so capital projects. We currently have 15 projects that are considered capital, mostly new construction. Right now on the books. Funding to date since fiscal year 2000 is $21 million. And just a couple of examples of them. The city of Sanibel received some funding over the last 2 years for shade structures, and this is an example of one that they've completed at Lighthouse. They have 2 other that are in progress right now. And the town of Fort Myers Beach also has 3 shade structures that are active at Newton Park. City of Sanibel has several light restroom projects, and the lighthouse, which is a pretty old project. It's been on the books for quite a while. It's finally coming to completion. It's 75% complete, so we're glad to hear that, and I know they're happy. You fund a lot of dune walkovers and boardwalks. Go ahead.
On these dune walkovers, boardwalks, not necessarily for this meeting, but for the next, when we have our workshop.
Yes.
I know we have a schedule of how many of these we needed to work on.
Right.
To get them all ADA compliant.
Mm-hmm.
And we were working through that schedule. Can we have a brief discussion in the meeting at the end of the month on that?
Specifically ADA?
How many that we have, and
Okay.
how many we need to continue to update to be fully compliant.
Okay. Yep. So this is the State Park Sea Grape Access. It was complete in October. Important to note again, the Gasparilla State Park, we have 7 state facilities in Lee County. Gasparilla is number 8th overall of all the state parks in the state of Florida, with 858,000 visitors a year. Here's another shot of a walkover on Sanibel Island. So very important to get across and over that dune, which is so important in holding on to our beach. The town of Fort Myers Beach has several projects that are active right now. The one that we're most excited about is the Mound House. It's a pretty old project. They finally are coming to completion with the observation pier. This is a picture of that. 95% complete. They're expecting to do a soft opening of the Mound House property in July. Of course, it's open right now, but there's been several improvements made, and they want to soft launch, and it'll give the VCD something else to talk about down there. As far as maintenance projects, we have a total of 18 maintenance projects that are active right now, and your funding to date, this is the largest portion of what you allocate, $41.8 million for maintenance. The town of Fort Myers Beach is progressing with their Beach and Bay Access Improvement Project. They are 95% complete with Connecticut Street, and they have 2 others in permitting, and this is an example of an access sign that was funded through the TDC that will be placed at 26 accesses on Fort Myers Beach. So Lee County is coming to close on the Manatee Park Canal Bank repair. It's been a few years we've been funding that. They are done asking for funding, and they're hoping to have the permit and complete the project this summer. This is a shot looking north towards FP&L. Again, this is the canal where the manatee congregate. They gain probably 200,000 visitors a year and had a record month. February, they had over 65,000 visitors just in the month of February this year to see the manatee. The city of Cape Coral also has a similar facility that attracts manatee. We're not sure quite why. There's no power plant there, but manatee do go up to Serenity Vista quite a bit, and the city of Cape Coral reports that they're in phase 3 of improvements to the shoreline there. They are out to bid and hope to complete construction on some observation walkways this summer. This is a shot. I was there one day, and there probably was a half a dozen people accessing the water with their kayaks, popular for fishing, and this is taking people and linking them right onto the Great Calusa Blueway in a spot at Matlacha Pass, which is just quite beautiful and, again, great fishing. So I think it's important to remember that the Calusa Blueway was a project of yours, still is. You fund through the Parks and Recreation Department's maintenance allocation, you fund them taking care of it. I wanted to just take a quick minute and have Mike stand up and say hi. Mike Hammond is the new Blueway coordinator for Parks and Recreation. He's filling Betsy's water shoes quite aptly, doing a great job. It's very important to remember this project's 11 years old, and it continues to gain us national attention, but somebody's got to take care of it and maintain the markers, talk to the media, and corral those outfitters. We have approximately 26 either outfitters or kayak rental facilities or guides on the Blueway, and that's up less than 12 when the Blueway started 11 years ago. So a recent media spot that Mike was able to gain, the Florida Rambler, which writes about authentic Florida getaways, did a great story on the Blueway in the end of March. It was in the Fort Lauderdale Sun-Sentinel, the Orlando Sentinel, on their online version, which nets 4 million viewers a month. There was a 35-page photo gallery, which was quite beautiful. So again, the Blueway is when you're thinking of the Blue Way, every single beach and shoreline project pretty much that you fund is touched by the Blue Way. And the article also appeared on Easter Sunday in the print edition of both papers. So we really appreciate Mike working on that project. So to wrap up, fiscal year 15-16 funding requests will be provided to you by the end of next week. And I want to thank you in advance. This is one of the more arduous tasks that we ask the TDC to participate in. There have been 35 requests for funding for a total of $17.6 million. Now, it's important to remember that not all of those projects are eligible. I believe there's 10 that have been deemed ineligible. So you don't have to allocate $17.6 million. We think, Tam and I are still working on it, we believe that the projection for the budget for this program will be between 9 and 10 million for next year. So I just wanted to remind you that we will see you here on April 30th at 1:30, and that you will have looked at the projects for 10 days and hopefully be ready to discuss them and allocate funding for next fiscal year. So that's my report. If there's any questions, don't hesitate to let us know.
Well, I just want to show, I saw that one photograph you showed of the number of COs. How many were there?
20,000.
20,000. And, you know, I'm sort of showing my age here a little bit. But I remember when we did our first renourishment on Captiva, and we planted these little COs. And, you know, those mounds now are 6 and 8 feet high that naturally have trapped the sand and built up the dune. It's just, you know, it's pretty incredible what those plantings do. So.
Yep, very important.
It's beautiful, and it protects your properties. That's
very good. All right, thank you very much for your report.
Thank you, Nancy. Commissioner, with your permission, I'll just slide right into the second.
Yeah, we'll go right into the new business section of the agenda and the second quarter budget report.
You have your report before you. It is an obligation for you to review our budget each quarter, and if you are comfortable with what's presented before you, I'd love a motion to approve acceptance.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, I have a second motion by Mayor Ruane, and a second by Member Afforded. Any discussion, board members? Okay, no discussion. Are there any objections? No objection. Motion carries unanimously. All right, we're on to the for council information part of our agenda.
I'll be honest, your for council's information packet is pretty thick. There is a report in there about mobile travel done by U.S. Travel. One of our benefits of a board membership is we get access to that research. Pretty high quality research there that I think you'll find very interesting. In addition, there is a report from the Florida Realtors Association about the impact of water quality on Florida's home values. If you have, that report came out, I believe, last week. If you haven't seen it, I think you'll find it interesting. There's also at the end of that report, there's like what they call an infographic, but kind of a summary of the report. The report is many pages long, so if you don't have time, maybe you want to just go to the end and see the infographic. And then just a variety of other information in there that you can read at your leisure, but I call out those two.
Excellent. And let's move on into the TDC member items. I'll start at this end. Mr. Lappy, any items today?
Just one note. I didn't plan my vacation this way, but as it turns out, I'm not going to be available for the team tourism nor for the beach and shore. I didn't plan it that way, but just to let you know, I won't be at those functions.
Are you going to the beach? For
No. Going far away.
There you go. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Wells?
I just wanted to clarify that I'm very happy that our ADR has been able to climb the way it has. I didn't mean that to be a negative comment. I just wanted to see how it was being perceived by our customer base with the data. And other than that, glad everybody had a great season. Thank you.
Very good. Counselor, anything you'd like to add? No? I'll real quickly for myself just say again, thank you for the efforts. What a great February. I know Tam was kind of tongue-in-cheek. It is hard to top January's results, but the point is we're still up in February 17%, and I think any business, any one of us would love to have 17% growth every month in our business. So thank you for what you're doing to continue to drive revenue, not only in bed tax collections, but to drive a great customer experience too down here. Tam, do you have any information? Okay. Mr. DeGillet? Okay. Mr. Afforded?
No, not today.
How about Mr. Webb?
I have two announcements to make. The first is two events coming up. The first event is your Lee County Hotel Association will be having its monthly luncheon at the Crown Plaza on April 23rd. That's Thursday. Mayor Randy Henderson is going to be the speaker, and you can RSVP at the Lee County Hotel Association.com website. And my second announcement, in a world where only one award show, luncheon, and trade show count, the Lee County Visitor and Convention Bureau and the Greater Fort Myers Chamber of Commerce present the Chrysalis Awards, a celebration of business and tourism, next Thursday, April 16th, at the Harborside Convention Center. The trade show will begin at 10:30, followed by an awards luncheon and a trade show, which will begin at 10:30, as I said, and the luncheon followed by awards, which will honor those participants in several categories, giving positive impact on the local community in categories of sales and marketing, education, sports, cultural achievement, sustainability, and business development. It will cap off with the Junior Award winner. So please show up at the Chrysalis Awards. You can RSVP at the Greater Fort Myers Chamber of Commerce site or the Lee County Visitor Convention Center site, or just show up because we could use you there. You do not want to miss this event. This world depends on it.
You know, that sounds like a blockbuster at the box office for sure.
Thank you.
Always wondered who did those movie trailer voiceovers.
It was me.
Yeah, very good.
You got to top that.
Mr. Wachula.
Oh, I top that.
All right, great. Thank you all. If there's nothing more for the good of the order, then meeting adjourned. Thank you all, folks.
Very much. Good job, Joe.
The